Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here with a brand new brew review. Today we are gonna mix things up a bit. Today we are gonna taste a beer that I have tasted before quite often. Now if you're gonna look on my Untapped, which is also Belgian Beer Brothers I believe, you will see that I haven't logged this beer quite often because I don't really log beers often. I log them once. Or maybe once or twice to check if my taste has evolved. But this is a beer that I actually have on a weekly basis in the summer. Why? This is a beer by Antwerpse Brewing Company, and some of you already know that I work there as a tour guide, amongst other things. And on hot summer's days like today, and like we had many of in this summer, it's quite easy to grab a Bootjesbier or a safe beer. Why am I gonna talk about this? Well, several reasons. For once, it is a great summer's day and I feel like a Bootjesbier. Secondly, tomorrow is Open Monuments Day here in Belgium, and the Antwerp Brewing Company is housed in a historic protected monument, the Noorderpershuis, or the Northern Press House. So we are gonna talk about that as well. If you guys want to come visit, be our guest. I will be doing tastings all day from 12 to 6, and my colleague and beer writer Hiverdonk, who wrote that book amongst others, will be the tour guide taking you guys into the brewery. Now, all that being said, I really like this beer, and I am not the only one. It is a 7%er, so be careful. It's not a Pilsner, it's not a session IPA. But why do I say I am not the only one that loves this beer? Well, this row of awards here. Now they had some gold, some silver, some bronze, but I think the one that they are most proud of is the world's best pale ale in 2016. What more can we notice on the label? Well, this typical safe beer guy that is on all the Antwerp Brewing Company's beers is dressed as a sailor. Why, you ask? Well, it's in the name of the beer. In Dutch and Flemish it is Bootjesbier, which literally translates to boat beer. Why? Again, this is a homage to the Red Star Line Museum, or the boating company Red Star Line, which also has ties with the Titanic, for example. I believe in 2015-ish, around that time, the Red Star Line Museum opened up at Het Eilandje in Antwerp, which is also where the brewery is. And as a homage and as an, let's say, an opening gift, they brewed this beer specifically for the Red Star Line. Why specifically for that? Well, it is a beautiful museum, not only about boats, of course, but about migration, more particularly migration from Belgium or Europe to the Americas back at that time. Now, because that line, that boating line, made a connection between Europe and the Americas, they wanted to make that connection with this beer as well. How did they do that? Well, first off, well, they called it Bootjesbier, which is an old beer name. It was an existing beer back in the days, but that beer doesn't exist anymore, so they asked permission to use the name, and that was granted, hence the label here. This is a completely different beer, but they just asked permission to use the name because it was very fitting and historically correct from that era. What else did they do to make that connection with the museum and with that other part of the world, let's say? Ingredients, flavors, everything surrounding it. Now, we do see the Red Star Line on the label and the sailor getting ready to board, but we also see that this is an amber red beer. I already said a 7%er. Now, on the bottom here it says met gember en koriander, which means with ginger and coriander. They wanted to make the connection in the beer as well. They wanted to have a classic Belgian style, let's say an amber, but they wanted to mix that with American styles, and at the time craft beer was very hot in America. They also wanted to use different wheat, different malts, different grains. So they used barley and wheat, again mixing things up there. But during the aroma phase, during cooking, during the addition of hops and herbs and spices, they also made several connections. For example, they are using European Belgian hops and Yakima Valley hops, but also that ginger that is pretty American, and coriander, which is an ingredient used in very many Belgian beers, let's say wheat beers, but also triples, of course. And they came out with an amber red beer. I think I talked a bit much about this beer already, so why wait? Let's open this baby up and have a taste. Now, I must emphasize that I really, really love their style and their labels. Yeah, I like the coloring as well. So if you guys get the chance, come over to het Eilandje in Antwerp tomorrow, visit the brewery, visit the museum, make a day out of it. If you still have some time left, after it gets dark, go to the Maas Museum and climb up the stairs to the roof. You'll have the most beautiful view on Antwerp. And because tomorrow is Sunday, you can also have a beer inside the cathedral, but that is a well-kept secret, actually. So, very, very carbonated, quite a bit of foam there. They didn't lie when they said amber red. Ooh. Beautiful, beautiful, let's say a coppery amberish color. A lot of bubbles bubbling up. And when we look at that head of foam, it is very dense, fine foam. It's actually still climbing. Now, of course, these beers are re-fermented in the bottle, so a bit of extra pressure is always added. And I've had this one in the fridge for a while. So it did have the chance, or in the garage actually, so it did have the chance to re-ferment firmly. Beautiful beige foam as well. You can see all the layers. Now, as for the taste, we do have a bunch of carbon dioxide, of course, but with highly carbonated beers, that is always the initial scent. I do get a bit of maltiness in there, a bit of, let's say, biscuits. A tiny hint of caramel, but mainly fresh cookies, fresh baked biscuits. Slightly herbal as well. I wouldn't say I get the ginger out of it, but maybe a bit of the coriander. So yeah, carbonated coriander biscuits. Very smooth, very soft. A bit of tingling in the nose. Yeah. And what keeps amazing me on for this beer is that it does have that tiny hint of sweetness along the borders, but it is actually way drier than it smells. It is well, very well balanced. I mean, we have those sharper flavors from the ginger, that smooth coriander herbalness, but also a bit of dryness from the hops and that fermentation that went pretty far. A very sturdy flavor profile as well. It is quite malty, and even though in the nose we got a bit of biscuits, we don't really taste biscuits. It's not a sweet beer. Like I said, it's just around the rim a bit. Now, I may have stored this a bit cold to my liking. But yeah, there it is. A lot of tingling in the soft tissue in the mouth, the roof of the mouth. It's not sticky, but it is, yeah, like I said, a bit dry, a bit of, I think you could compare this to tannins, but it's actually just the flavorings of the hops, the bitterness of the hops. And funny enough, there is also a bit of fruitiness to it. So those four kinds of hops really do go hand in hand. There we go. A bit of yeast in there, making it a bit darker. Also probably a bit smoother and a bit more bitter. Indeed. Also, the aftertaste is very, very pleasant with this beer. Why do I like this so much in summer? Because it is very thirst quenching, it is very refreshing. Of course, we have that ginger to thank for it, but also those bitter hops, that dry hopping. So this is a beer that literally gives us best of both worlds, from Europe, from the Americas, but also a lot of know-how from the brewers. So yeah, I am gonna enjoy this a bit further. I would like to thank every one of you to keep watching. I saw that we are one person removed from 200 subscribers. So yeah, ask your friends and we'll celebrate number 200. At 250, I'm thinking of doing another giveaway. That was fun last time. If you guys want to come and have a drink with me, I heard that one of our American brothers is coming over this week to have a drink with me in Antwerp. So Robert, I look forward to seeing you. If you guys are in Antwerp and you want to have a drink with me tomorrow, come visit the Antwerp Brewing Company between 12 and 6 p.m. I'll be there tasting either way, so come join us. And I will see you guys again next time. So, cheers.